What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers free agency just officially kicked off. Wednesday here as I'm posting this, free agency I think officially is at 4 o'clock, so we're still about a half an hour until the official free agency. But the tampering period started Monday, so it's been a couple days, a couple of busy, crazy, long days, lots of stuff going on, but lots of video content. I've got Scream killer rankings. I have movie rankings. I have the Scream 6 review if you want to see that. I have a taste test video I did yesterday. Today I'm doing Pittsburgh Steelers free agency 2023. We have lost a couple of guys, we've re-signed a couple of guys, and we've signed a couple of new guys. So I'm going to bring you guys, as of right now, about almost 4 o'clock here on Wednesday, I'm going to bring you guys the first 2.5 days of movement from free agency, and if more stuff drops, I'll bring you guys that too. Please excuse my mouth. I've got some tooth stuff going on I'm trying to figure out, so I'm talking a little marble mouth today. I do apologize, but I couldn't wait to bring you guys this video. Pittsburgh is staying busy in free agency now. Staying busy is the undercard staying busy. Pittsburgh always does the affordable deals. Pittsburgh's free agency style is not to go make splash players. We're not going to go trade for big guys. We're not going to go sign all the, legends. We're not going to have all of these top-name free agents. We never do that. That's not our style. Our style was to bring in guys who are high-quality veterans, who are good roster guys who can fill the roster out for a good, cheap price and fill the spots we need with veteran depth. That's what Pittsburgh does, and that's what they've done so far. Now, so far, the first couple of days, we got a couple of cancellations. Got a couple guys leaving, a couple of guys returning. Number one, we lost Cam Sutton to kick off free agency. That was our biggest priority free agent for me. Big fan of Cam Sutton because of his versatility. Cam Sutton can fill in his safety when he needs to. He can play the slot. He can play outside. He can blitz a bit. He can cover a bit. Sutton can do a lot of things and has more versatility than a lot of the other corners in this class. So losing him, especially considering he emerged last year as our cornerback one after Akello kind of fell through and didn't play as well in the second half of the season, then got injured, Cam kind of has been our mainstay for the last couple of years. First in the slot when Hilton left, and then on the outside when Akello got hurt. So losing Sutton is a big loss. Countering with that, though, Patrick Peterson got signed. So Cam Sutton goes over to the Detroit Lions. And first of all, anybody we've lost, congrats to you guys. Go make your money. Go do your thing. Once a Steeler, always a Steeler. I support Cam Sutton. Can't wait to see what he does this year. But Patrick Peterson, the legend, formerly of the Arizona Cardinals, most notably, his last team was the Minnesota Vikings. He got signed to a 2-year, $14 million deal, so about $7 million a year for the next 2 seasons. He has played so far, I believe, 12 seasons in the NFL, going into his 13th year. But in spite of that longevity, he's still got it. He might not be the spry kick returner kind of guy that he used to be, one of the fastest in the entire NFL, but he's still a heck of an athlete. He's a burner still, underrated speed for a guy of that length of time, tons of experience, got some physicality. He's a true leader. He's very cerebral and intelligent. He's a very good outside man lockdown corner. He can play man defense, which was a big, big weakness for us this past season, in our secondary, and honestly, for the most part, for the past 4 or 5 years. Our secondary has needed physical outside coverage, which we haven't had until now. Patrick Peterson is very good in man. He's good on deep balls down the field. He's physical. He tracks the ball, and he makes splash plays. He gets a lot of picks. He also, when he plays special teams, gets those blocks and returns on occasion as well. Not as much as he used to, but he got a block, I think, last year for Minnesota. He played last year in Minnesota in his 12th season. I think he had 5 picks and a kick block. I think he was excellent last year. Now, granted, he's not quite as physical as Sutton when it comes to tackling, but he's still a decent tackler in the run game. He's still a good conversion stuffer on third downs. He's still physical on the outside. He's still a solid tackler. Now, you're not going to get that versatility like you are with Sutton. Peterson can play inside, I think, but he's not going to do it nearly as much. He's not going to be a guy you can move all around the field, but he is a guy that can lock down one side of the field, which Sutton is not. So I think all in all, in spite of the age difference, we have upgraded here with Patrick Peterson. Now, it does not take away the need for a corner in the draft. Whether it's a slot corner or a dual corner, Pittsburgh still needs a third guy. If Peterson was brought in on top of Cam Sutton and we could put Cam Sutton on the inside, I'd say we're set now. But since Sutton is gone and Peterson's here, we need a corner to back up Sutton and Wallace on the outside, especially a guy who can play in the slot. If you got to put Peterson in the slot, you probably can. Maybe DeMonte KZ can play in the slot, more on him later. Maybe a guy like Mollett once in a while, but he's more of a tackler. Trey Norwood, he's a little undersized. You want a slot corner to play inside-outside and kind of give the team different looks and be able to blitz off the edge and play the tight ends and play the halfbacks and play the slot receivers. So we still need a corner in the draft, but I think Peterson over Sutton one-on-one is an upgrade in spite of Peterson's age. I like this fit a lot for the Steelers. There's another switch around here. Robert Spillane is gone. We lost him to the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, thank you, Robert Spillane, for filling in when Devin Bush kind of his play fell. We saw Spillane become kind of the third linebacker outside of Bush and Jack, or whoever was really here for a while now. Came in when Devin Bush got hurt in 2020, made some really big plays, and kind of has been the consistent guy inside linebacker ever since. Now, he's got big strengths and weaknesses. He is a very good downhill runner. He's a hard hitter in the backfield. He tackles very well, especially on running backs, gets the occasional quarterback pressure. As far as being a downhill runner who's fast and strong, he's very, very good in the run game. Now, he does miss tackles occasionally, but he's usually pretty good with his gap assignments. What he is not good at whatsoever is the pass game. He's not a good coverage guy at all. He's a liability in coverage, and he does miss tackles in the open field as well. While he's a good tackler, especially in the run game, he's not a great tackler always in the pass game. But we do lose a guy who was our number 2. By the end of the year, Devin Bush got kicked from number 2 behind Jack to being 4 behind Jack, Spillane, and Mark Robinson. But now you've got this 3-headed team because you know Bush is going to be gone. So you had Jack, Spillane, and Robinson, and now Spillane's gone. So that puts Mark Robinson, who's also very young and undersized and a pass liability, in the starting lineup. So Pittsburgh needed another body to fill that spot, even before the draft, in my opinion. And they did that. Pittsburgh also brings in another player. Pittsburgh comes in today, this morning actually, with Cole Holcomb in his 5th season from the Washington Commanders. Cole Holcomb is a pretty underrated signing. He's getting crapped on a lot for not being a great enough signing. Number one, I think he's a better version of Robert Spillane. I hate to keep making these losses sound like upgrades, but I think it is. Holcomb is another guy who's very underratedly fast. He's very strong. He's a hitter. He's a physical tackler. I think he's a more form solid tackler than Spillane is. And Spillane's an underrated tackler, but I think Cole Holcomb is very, very good. In his first 4 seasons, 2 of those seasons he's had over 100 tackles in a season, including 2021 in his breakout year when he had 140-plus tackles. That's incredible. He forces fumbles and gets fumble recoveries. He was wearing the green dot for the Commanders, meaning he was the middle linebacker that was one of the captains getting the plays in. So he's got leadership ability. He's trusted by his teammates. He's a physical guy. And he was on pace. In his 4th year this past year, he was on pace for his all-time year. He had 70 tackles in 7 games before he got injured. He was on pace. He was getting 10 tackles a game for the first half of the season. Got injured after 7 games. I think he fractured his foot or broke his foot. Did have foot surgery. That's the big holdup now. For a guy who's physical and tackles a lot and he's involved in a lot of plays, you got to make sure the foot's okay. That's a big need for us to fix. And of course, the signing is pending the physical. He has to pass the physical. We're hoping he does. Cole Holcomb reminds me a lot of Robert Spillane, although I think he's a better overall tackler, and I think he's a more sure tackler, and I think he's slightly better in coverage. He's still not a great coverage guy. Inside linebackers usually aren't, but I don't think he's quite the liability that Spillane is. So all in all together, being somebody who's gotten over 100 tackles twice, including 140, and then was on pace just last year, already had 70 by week 7, I think this guy is a really, really good player. We signed him to a 3-year deal. It sounds like an affordable deal. We don't have the money yet, but I think Cole Holcomb is a slight upgrade over Robert Spillane. Now, all of a sudden, you've got 3 guys who have started at some point already in their careers. Mark Robinson started 2 games at the end of the season. With Spillane being gone now, you've got Miles Jack and Holcomb being your starters, and Mark Robinson being the fill-in guy in case Holcomb isn't entirely healthy or in case whatever happens. Again, we still need somebody in the draft. I don't know if we want to come into the season with Jack and Holcomb, because I'm not sure if we're going to keep Jack. And Mark Robinson is very inexperienced still, and like I said, undersized and doesn't cover well. So you still want to get one more guy in that room. So we still want to draft an inside linebacker pretty high. But getting Holcomb here, again, is an upgrade over the guy we just had. I think he saved us some money overall. I'm not quite sure about the deal yet. But I think it's another good signing. I would say so far, again, we didn't want to lose Spillane or Sutton, but I think Patrick Peterson and Cole Holcomb are upgrades over the two guys that we lost. We've also re-signed two guys. We signed DeMonte KZ to a 2-year deal. Now, this still is up in the air with what's going to happen with Terrell Edmonds or somebody else. So we have both safeties, Edmonds and KZ, both free agents this year. We signed both last year, and Edmonds started most of the season, and then KZ came in around week 9 or 10 to play 3 safety sets, and I really like that combination. Those guys playing those 2 safeties allow Minkah Fitzpatrick to roam around, get by the line of scrimmage, tackle, blitz, and do all that stuff. It allows Terrell Edmonds to be the more downhill physical run tackling safety, while KZ is the more ball hawk covering safety. KZ is a guy who's going to get turnovers. He led the league in picks one year. I think he had double digits one year in picks. He's been an intercepting guy quite a bit. Now all of a sudden on this team, you've got KZ starting right now and Patrick Peterson, 2 guys who are known for getting a lot of picks. That is very, very good for us. We can wind up right now with these 2 guys, Fitzpatrick and KZ, being our 2 starters, and I feel good about it. It gives us less need to get back Edmonds. I would still like him back because I want that safety diversity, and that allows Edmonds to play safety and KZ can go play slot if we need him to thin out our cornerback situation a little bit. And also allows, again, 1 to blitz and 1 to ball hawk, which Edmonds doesn't really intercept or play the ball quite as often as he does blitzing the quarterback and being around the line of scrimmage. So I like the Fitzpatrick-KZ combination. We still probably need to either sign Edmonds or to draft a safety kind of mid to late in the draft. I wouldn't prioritize safety, but I would get another body on the roster. If you got to fill in with a Norwood or a Killebrew for a game or something in there, those guys are okay. Norwood's made some plays at times. Killebrew's got some veteran leadership. He's been on the Lions for a while, been here for a while. So our safety situation right now, I kind of like. And I'm still curious as to whether Edmonds or somebody else comes over, but I like what we have going on. That was a good re-signing. I like KZ a lot as long as he's healthy. Another big signing that I like, our biggest signing of the free agency so far, Larry Ogunjobi, 3 years for, I think it's $28.7 million, something around that nature. So we're looking about $9 million a year. Larry Ogunjobi is back. We needed that. We're still trying to shore up that 3rd spot in our line. Cam Hayward, obviously, is an all-time Pro Bowler, but he's getting older. Cam Hayward is getting older. He's not going to last too much longer. Maybe a season or 2. I've been saying this for 3 or 4 years. Sooner or later, Cam's going to go. Knock on glass. We don't want him to go anywhere. We love Cam Hayward. He's a star. But Cam's getting older, but he is sure on that side of the line. We need somebody to make sure they're sure on the other DN spot so we can focus on the nose tackle spot, which we're trying to figure out if it's going to be Wormley or Leal or probably a draft pick. I would bring somebody in at the draft. But having Larry Ogunjobi really shores up the starting D-line spot because he's a guy that's going to be in there making plays. He's not a spectacular player. He's not a special player, but he's a very solid, trustworthy starter for a long time now. I like this signing a lot. This would have given us a big need in the draft that he now took away, that we don't need that DN spot. We still need more depth, and we still need D-tackle, but the other D-line spot right now is shored up. I like that a lot. Finally, one more signing for us. That is Nate Herbig, the guard who played 4 seasons, 3 for the Eagles and the last one for the Jets. We signed him to a 2-year, $8 million deal, only $4 million guaranteed, $4 million a year if he stays both seasons. I like this. I think this does take away the need for a guard in the draft. I would not be opposed to drafting one late, but obviously you want to prioritize tackle. Tackle is our big spot that needs upgraded. You didn't want to have to draft 2 linemen that high in the draft. By getting Herbig, I think we're in a good place because James Daniels obviously is the main starter on the one side, and the other side is Kevin Dotson, who had a great rookie season and has not been great since, but he's shown moments of being good. But he needs someone to push him, and Herbig has got starting experience. Over those 4 years, 3 with the Eagles, 1 with the Jets, he started, going into his 5th season, he's at 28 starts so far. And he was picked up by our assistant GM, Andy Wordle, who played with him on the Eagles. He was on the Eagles when Herbig was drafted, so he knows Herbig, and he said in his tweet or his press conference or whatever it was, said that Herbig is a starter to him. He sees Herbig as being a starting guy. So whether Herbig comes in as the number 2 alongside Daniels and makes Dotson a good quality backup with experience, or whether it motivates Dotson to be better and we kind of see glimpses of the rookie Dotson and Herbig goes on to be a veteran backup for cheap, I don't mind $4 million guaranteed or $4 million a year for a veteran backup because the offensive line usually gets hurt. This was the first year nobody got hurt. So we're going to see injuries at times. And so Herbig playing there, not only is he a guard that has starting experience, but he also has played both guard spots. He plays mostly, I want to say he plays mostly at left guard. I'm kind of transposing, I'm not sure. But he's played mostly at one spot, but also a couple hundred snaps at the other spot. He can play either guard spot. So position versatility at guard. He's played inside in both spots. He's got starting experience, and he wasn't super expensive. So I like that signing as well. And that now, again, means you have 3 guards who you can kind of trust to play when you need to, and you've given your second guard competition, which is nice. We can still draft somebody late or bring someone in unrestricted, but I think that takes the guard need off the high-end board for us in the draft. So far, we've signed 3 players, we've lost 2, and we've re-signed 2. So all in all right now, based on the first 2.5 days of tampering/free agency, legal tampering/free agency, I should say, I'm going to give the Steelers a C+. I'm going to say above average on this. You did replace your 2 big losses with 2 better versions of those players. I think Peterson's better than Sutton. I think Holcomb is better than Robert Spillane. So you upgraded those 2 spots, and you brought in depth on the offensive line where you needed to, in a spot that was needed, and you also re-signed 2 of your key free agents who are going to start for us next season. So the jury's still out on a few other guys. We'll see who else gets re-signed. We'll see if Pittsburgh goes after anybody else right now, which I think if anything right now, it would probably be a veteran quarterback to back up Kenny Pickett. Maybe you go after outside linebacker depth, someone cheap on the outside just to shore that up. You know, maybe you go after a slot corner for cheap if you can find one. But either way, I think the draft is going to fill a lot of those needs as we draft 4 times pretty high in the first 3 rounds. So all in all, I'd say C+ right now. Nothing splashy, nothing special. Couple of trades went through that I was like, oh, Pittsburgh could have given up a 7th round pick for that guy. But that guy usually comes with a lot of money attached to his contract. So I think overall Pittsburgh is signing veteran guys that have depth for smart prices. And we're going to continue doing that. I hope we re-sign a few more guys. I'm still waiting to see what happens with Terrell Edmonds. Zach Gentry at tight end may be a important re-signing as a blocking tight end, so we don't have to attack that later on. And those few spots that I mentioned earlier about filling depth. So what do you guys think so far? Who did you really want us to get? Reasonably, don't give me any superstars. Who did you think we were going to get? Who did you want us to get? Is there anyone out there right now that you still want us to go after? Is there anybody right now in kind of that mid to low veteran spot that you think would fit well on this team? What do you think we should do? Anyone else we should prioritize on our own team or out there in public? You tell me in the comments below, and I will come back again if there are any more big signings. I will give you guys another video, and then coming sometime next week, I will do my Steelers mock drafts. I have done 3 different mock drafts, prioritizing 3 different positions. I've gone 3 different paths in the draft, and I've mocked all 3 drafts from the first round all the way down through the 7th, naming players through the 4th round. So I've got the first 5 picks all named out in 3 different ways, and then I've got some additional needs in the 7th round as well. So I'll bring you guys my draft video very soon, and I will see you guys soon. Go Steelers.